All right, so I have just got through doing a large Costco haul, and I thought I would go ahead and show you guys what it looks like when you're shopping for kind of a large vegan family. And yeah, so this was about $373, which is obviously a lot to spend, but this is about once every 2 weeks we do this trip. And anyway, yeah, so that's kind of what it looks like. I'm working on actually shopping even less, hoping to get ourselves down to only once monthly shopping trips. So we're not quite there yet, but here we go for like a 2-week shopping trip, and I guess let's just go ahead and get right into it. Okay, so we'll start on the ground. We've got 20 pounds of potatoes and a large bag of onions. I think it's like a 10 or 15 pound bag of onions. That right there is the lid for the 27-gallon tote that I bought to complete my food storage stack in my food storage area. And so now everything will be nice and even. And I don't know, I just like that. And then we do still buy diapers because we do still have one in diapers in the house. It's Sage, FYI, in case you guys were wondering. And so I really hate having to do this purchase still, but we just still are in that season. And so there we are. And so now obviously a lot of this is, there's no like zero wasteness about a lot of this stuff. And it really is sad to me, but it's one of those things where it's like, I have to buy so much food. I cannot imagine trying to source all of this in a completely zero waste fashion. I just sort of try to buy as much whole foods as possible, with, you know, a couple exceptions every now and then. And I'll kind of talk about that a little bit too. So I am beginning this month the McDougall program for maximum weight loss. And so that has colored a few of these purchases. And so let me go ahead and share with you what those are. So obviously just some organic riced cauliflower. It's a fantastic way to add veggies to a meal. A big bag of sweet corn, a big bag of broccoli, big bag of cauliflower. These are 4 pounds each. A bag of Brussels sprouts and some strawberries. I'm very excited that fruit is back. So yay, we're getting into the hot season, but that also means that we're getting fruit. So it's at a reasonable price, so I can get it now. So we've got organic blueberries, organic raspberries, and the little mandarin oranges, and that's like our produce for this haul. And then back here for some of our grains, we've got the short grain brown rice, which is fantastic as a almost sushi rice type thing. And that's a lot of times how I use it. Actually, just last night we made an amazing dinner, a giant veggie stir fry, and with like a nice sauce on it, and then put it over top of some short grain brown rice and just ate it like a nice Asian meal. And so I love that rice for that purpose. So I'm buying that because I imagine I'm going to be eating a lot of stuff like that this month. And then quinoa, pre-rinsed quinoa. This is my favorite. So I try to buy a bag almost every time I go to Costco because I'm putting it in the stash. Quinoa has a shelf life of like 20 years. And so I'm trying to buy a lot of that every time I go to the store. A giant thing of hummus just because it's cheaper, even though it technically has a little bit of oil in it. I'm just going to have it because it makes me eat, you know, a ton of veggies. And so with this large container, though, a lot of times it still will go bad before we get through it. So I like to freeze it in small jars and pull it out as needed. The pasta was majorly on sale. I think it was $6 for each one of these. So I went ahead and got a couple because pasta is another one of those things. It lasts for about 20 years in storage when it's properly sealed away. And so I buy some of that too, especially if it's a really good price. This is definitely not a normal part of our diet, but for the stash, yeah, I'm going to put away something that we can eat, you know, in an emergency situation that will be there for us for a very long time. I know they always say to stash what you eat, but like brown rice has only a stashing shelf life of maybe 6 months to a year or two. If I'm remembering correctly, brown rice really doesn't last very long at all. Quinoa lasts a lot longer, so I do get quinoa, but like the whole grain stuff does not stash as well usually. So I do make some exceptions and do some white flour things because they just last longer. And that's about, you know, long-term emergency food storage. And it's still essentially a thing that we eat. It's just not in the form that we eat it in. So typically, anyway, mango salsa, 2 things of mango salsa, because that is like my giant, like my big thing. Like I like to just take a couple spoonfuls of that to throw onto a salad, and then that's like an instant salad dressing. So it's extremely helpful for me in getting me to eat a lot more vegetables, just like the hummus, only that doesn't have any oil or anything in it. So I'm a little bit better there. The avocado things are because, you know, we can't seem to go through avocados fast enough. They always go bad, but my boys still really love an avocado toast. And so this is more for them to have a convenience food that they can make for themselves, so that I'm not always having to think about what can I make for them and what can I make for me as we're going into this month of me doing this, you know, new kind of different program, or at least not very new to me, but this is the month where it's like, seriously, I'm doing it. And so I'm trying to give them some options so that I don't have to be in there smelling their food, making them something that I'm not going to be eating. That's not like mentally something that I really want to deal with. So that's what that is for. So same kind of thing with the rice ramen. I won't be eating any of this, but this is something that they can make for themselves very easily. And this is another meal that they can make, and I don't have to be involved in that. And so my tomato paste is basically for the stash, but also we go through a lot of tomato paste. I've talked before about why I love the tomato paste specifically, because really, if like for my thinking, and it might not be 100% accurate, but I feel like each can of tomato paste replaces 2 cans of diced tomatoes. And so it ends up being so much cheaper to buy a shelf tomato product in this way. So it's the same price for 12 cans of tomato paste, it's like $6.99, as it is for 8 cans of diced tomatoes. And so obviously you get more cans, but then when you consider the fact that this is like twice 2 cans in one, every single one of these cans, I think it works out to be like 3 times as much for only, you know, this, or for the same price. So I have pretty much switched to tomato paste, and that's what I'm stashing now. And also it takes up less space, so that's nice. Back here we've got coconut aminos, which are just delicious, and I do love using those, especially in more Asian dishes. And then balsamic vinegar is another thing. I love the combination of coconut aminos and balsamic vinegar, and that too makes an amazing salad dressing. Barbecue sauce. This is an incredible barbecue sauce. It's really delicious and spicy, and it is vegan, which is funny. Like a lot of these sauces that people buy to put on their meat, like they're trying to make their meat taste good. And a lot of the stuff that people use to make their meat taste good is vegan because it's made of like plants or molasses or whatever. So this is delicious. And actually another barbecue or another oil-free salad dressing that we really love is a combination of about 1/3 balsamic vinegar to 2/3 barbecue sauce, and shake that up, and it's oh my gosh, it's an insanely good salad dressing that is really easy to make, and it's oil free and all of that. Now granted, there's a little bit of sugar in it, but I do really appreciate that. Like, and it's also in the mango salsa, but the mango salsa, there's no added sugar, there's just sugar from the fruit. And I do really appreciate that about Dr. McDougall's programs, specifically that he does not completely outlaw sugar and salt. He says, I want you to eat the food, is what he says. So if you need something like a little bit of flavor, like as a salad dressing or something, just to get you to eat the healthy foods, then he's all for it. And I really do appreciate that. It's just tofu, because we're almost completely out of tofu. So that lasts a long time in the fridge. And so I bought, 3 boxes of that. It's actually only $5 a box, and you get 4 packages. And so that's a really good option. This, I don't normally buy stuff like this, but it's kind of the same thing with the guacamole, because I'm heading into this month of wanting to kind of be able to do my own thing and make sure that my boys still have some food and also something that they will still like or whatever. These were also majorly on sale. I think it was only $6 or $7 each for these, and they're normally closer to like $12 each, if I'm remembering right. So this was a major buy, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to get those because it's really easy for the boys to be able to just toss that into the oven and cook it for themselves, and then I don't necessarily have to be involved in that process. But then it also gives them something kind of yummy to eat, and they're not stuck eating my way, because they don't really have to, because they're still young and fit and all that. So anyway, some instant coffee. Again, I got 2 of those because those were also majorly on sale. We drink a lot of instant coffee in this house just because, I don't know, there's not a lot of time. And I know a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's horrible, but I don't know. I don't have to, if you feel like coming over and brewing coffee for me so that I have nice coffee, go right ahead. But I'm just, just for the sake of time. And also this one's actually really good. It's the ones that are like freeze-dried crystals tend to be the best. So anyway, also some spinach because we're getting into the time of year when I'm not pulling greens from the garden. So that is also just to make it a little easier for making salads and things like that. And diced green chilies. These end up being an ingredient in many of my recipes, like a chili recipe that I am currently testing and getting it perfect uses a can of the diced green chilies, and I ran out last time I made it. Last time I made it was supposed to be the final test before I could post it, but I ran out of this and I didn't have it, so I wasn't able to truly test the final recipe, but I'm almost done. And so pretty soon look for a nice yummy Whole Foods chili recipe, which I am also hoping to be maximum weight loss like ready, because also in the chili is a major amount of riced cauliflower. So it's like a 50-50 plate, like in the chili itself. And if you don't know, that's for the maximum weight loss thing. You're trying to eat every one of your plates is 50%, starches, whether that's potatoes or whole grains or beans or whatever, and then 50% veggie. And so the recipe itself I was originally developing for that eating style, trying to make it 50% veggies just in the chili so that I don't have to think about it. Anyway, I already mentioned the strawberries. And then the last thing I'm pretty sure I haven't talked about yet is this almond milk. So it's just an unsweetened almond milk. And that is for me, again, going into this month of needing to have something on hand that is less fat than the homemade cashew milk I make. And then I can technically make my own oat milk or whatever, but it's just so much work for me, because my cashew milk, like I don't even strain it. So that one's really easy, but it has a ton of fat in it, and I'm supposed to be kind of avoiding more fat this month. So this is for me to be able to still use in recipes and, various things like a lower fat milk. So that's what that's for. So there's the haul and a little bit about the why of each thing. And yeah, so big family and kind of different eating goals. And so, yeah, anyway, there it is. And hopefully you enjoyed that. If you have any more questions or comments or things you'd like to know, I guess put it down in the comments below. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and cut this off and get this stuff into the freezer because, oh my gosh, it's been so long. All right. Oh, and my dishwasher's done. So, okay. All right. As always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.